Okay, it's 7 o'clock on Tuesday, February 22nd. I'd like to call the regular caucus meeting of the City of Twinsburg to order. Shannon, would you call the roll?
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mrs. Labby? Here. Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mr. Post?
Here.
Mrs. Walker? Present. Mr. Barr?
Here.
Okay, I don't believe we have any presentations this evening. One item for discussion is Mr. Fury had asked for the council rules to be added to the agenda, so I'm going to turn the floor over to you right now.
Thank you very much. I'm not looking at an overview of all council rules. I'm looking at what was incorporated into the chapter 111 of the codified ordinances. That 8-inch book that you have, we actually have these inside that offering again on section 111. What I wanted to pull your attention to is there's a list of committees, and some of them aren't in action anymore. For instance, we talked about the Chamber of Commerce. When we were renting them space, we were part of their board, but we don't do that anymore, and they've said that they no longer want us to attend their board meetings. So we should remove that, Chamber of Commerce. Actually, let me grab my email just so I have it in front of me. I wanted to also add the JEDI committee. And just a second.
I just re-forwarded it to all of you.
Thank you. It's in box.
What's that?
For the email or put it in box?
It's
just
an
in your
email.
email.
I just forwarded his email back to you guys.
But
Tax incentive review.
yes. Tax incentive redo is not on the list, but it's a requirement for the year to review the CRA and top agreements. And then we have the Treasury Investment Board, which we have called a Treasury Committee. It's really the Treasury Investment Board. And that's one person with the mayor and the finance director meeting with our bond councils to talk about we also have investments in short-term CDs, so we're rotating like to 3 to 5 years, so that we're getting interest. I think we're getting like 1.5% rough, but we're getting over the last few years. I thought we had recouped about $1.5 million in additional interest versus the 0.009 interest you get in a bank account. So again, we have these bonds that are out for our general fund, about $10 million worth, off the top of my head, about 10. We put more than 10 million in that?
Into the investment account?
Yes.
I don't think we have 10.
Okay, I thought we were close to that. Anyway, I'd like that added to the list. And does anybody else have any other changes or things that they've caught?
So to recap, you want to add tax incentive review, you want to add the redistricting committee,
Yeah.
add the JEDI, edit the Treasury, and then remove Chamber.
That's what
5
I
things.
do
Okay.
and we would need legislation to do this because it's in 111.
I'm okay
Does
with it.
anybody have any comments or questions or challenges with changing section B of 111.03? Okay.
No issues.
All right, so
I'm okay.
then I'd like to move.
Shannon has some.
The Charter Review Oversight Committee has not met in over 10 years also. Just something to think about.
So so committees of council, which are not charter committees, can be added and removed. I think there was one resident that was applied to that, but
Typically, it's 3 members of the last sitting Charter Review
okay.
that kind of hang around afterwards, but we haven't utilized them. I don't know. It's up
I think
to you
that's
if we
only
wanna
met
keep it.
once that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it met once, like in, I think it was 2011.
What is the necessity of it?
During the interim between the
To see-
charter review meeting, if there's something comes up.
So
Then they-
the council can petition to have the charter changed with a vote of 5 to put something on the ballot with the approval of the mayor, or they come from the Charter Review Commission. I
I was on that last
Yeah,
time.
you were on it the last time. We haven't done anything from council in 10 years or longer, that I recall. Sam?
Yeah, I don't either, like I said,
So, I don't think that that's necessary. And again, you can always recreate it, but if you eliminate it, you actually have, if we act, did we actually put legislate or a resolution together to create it, or do we just say we had one?
Talking about the
Charter Review Committee.
Oversight.
Oversight.
The
The Oversight Committee.
committee.
I mean, we have to check. We'd have to have Matt check, but so if you wanted to, if there was legislation, you have to do legislation to take it away.
Well, that one, it doesn't hurt for us to leave it there. I mean,
Okay.
So, but I don't see it as a problem if we leave it alone.
I was just gonna ask that same question.
Yeah,
Does it
I'd
hurt
just
to
leave it
keep
alone.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, because we're not even appointing members to that one, right? It's just members of the
That
previous.
served on the previous one, yeah, so there's no appointments or
We do it every
anything.
5 years.
Right, but not the oversight committee.
No.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, so
So how often does the charter review meet, did you
every
say?
5 years.
Every 5
The
years.
charter
Every-
review is put together for a 5-year run. Typically it starts in the spring or earlier, so that they can decide what they'd like to change. And then they
Okay.
vote on it as a group and give it to city council as
Recommendations.
items to be put on the ballot for the city to vote, for the residents to vote on.
Okay, and when was the last time they met? Do you know?
I think 4 years ago. David, when was the
When
last
was
time
the
you were on
last
the?
It was, gotta be 3-4 years ago at
It's
least.
probably 4, because we're doing
Got
redistricting
it.
this year. That's also a 5-year committee. So,
Gotta be 4 years ago.
we do the
Got it.
redistricting every 5 years, or when
Same
there's
for the-
more than I think a 10% difference between the wards. I actually had those numbers, and I sent them out to you guys, just because I wanted to see what they were. I don't have that in front of me, but,
Got
you
it.
know, there was definitely, there needs to be probably some adjustment between 2, 3, and 5. But again, they'll sit down with maps and work with, basically you're recarving out what a ward is. And we have to work in conjunction with the guidelines of the Board of Elections, because we used to be able to have a lot more freedom on what we did as far as this side of the street or the whole street. And they, I think, are we splitting it down the middle of the road now?
I think they wanted it all split down the middle of the road.
Okay, so, and they have to approve, the Board of Elections has to approve, in theory, what we're telling them the new wards are, because then they're gonna cut the precincts up.
Ours has to stay within their precincts, how we break it up. We have to stay within theirs. Last conversation.
I don't understand what you just said.
Repeat what you said, because I think
I said, once we establish the wards, they redraw the precinct lines for voting.
yes, sorry, thank you. I
So,
misheard you.
I live in Ward 4, and I've been in, I think, 2 of the 3. I used to be in Ward 3. I think I've been in 4 precincts in 28 years. So it's, it's just how they do it, so that they can balance the voting, so it's representatively balanced as well as administratively balanced for the polls.
Okay.
So,
So back to this.
So are you saying to eliminate the charter review oversight?
no, I
Or just
think,
to keep?
I think that we were just going to keep it on.
Yeah, we're just going to keep it.
Okay,
And if we want to use it, we can appoint, and if we don't, it just is in limbo.
okay.
It is in the code, I just looked up, so.
Thank you.
It was established after 146, so it would have to be more than just.
So if we want to do something to eliminate it, we'd have to do legislation.
Okay.
But I don't think this is necessary.
Does anybody have a problem with Bill's proposal?
No.
We good? We're good.
Okay.
You good?
Shannon, do you understand what we're doing? Or Matt, do you understand what we're doing? Great. The other part of that was, I created and then proposed to council at one point a chart to balance committees, because there was a time when some people were doing 40 meetings a year and some people were doing 10 meetings a year, and that didn't really seem fair. So we came up with this structure. To tell you the truth, I don't think we need it anymore. It gets confusing. It really handlocks the council president to make sure everybody's balanced. And I think we go back to the old way of just working it out. So,
I agree with that.
so I make a motion that we eliminate 111.11. Excuse me. That's not correct. Let's see. I think this has been added on to 111.05 as the chart. And I'd like to have the chart and the, and I guess it was done on ordinance 90/2021. I'd like to bring that back and eliminate it.
Don't you want to do that at council?
I do.
Okay.
I'm asking the law director to prepare legislation.
Okay.
If council agrees.
Well, I guess my question is, it's almost to me like having the Charter Review Oversight Committee in here. I guess the question becomes, there's no point, I guess, why take it out? Could it be there if you need it?
We're not talking about that anymore. We went past that. We've already agreed to keep it.
What?
The oversight committee?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying it's the same kind of idea. I'm saying
the
this
chart?
group- the chart.
I
Like,
think
why
we
can't?
might-
What does it hurt to keep it in there?
Because it hampers you every year as the president of
Could
the
this be used
council.
as a guide if chosen, though?
No, it's ordinance.
Yeah.
It's got to be followed.
Right. It does, it gives, it
have
gives
to
you
do
really
that.
limited flexibility to assign seats.
Okay.
And again, I think it'll work much better. We
All right.
tried it.
No, I understand it's
proposed it, we
ordinance.
tried it. I know that, I don't think Sam liked it
No, it's
now.
very difficult. I don't think
And-
anybody
and,
liked that.
Okay, and so I'm just saying, let's clean it up and take it away.
I wasn't here when you did it, so if that's what you guys feel like, I'm fine with that.
You're new.
You agree?
I know.
Stop it, I'm new. No, I'm just thinking 5 years from now, fast forward 5 years from now, there's a situation where, you guys aren't here, you guys aren't as familiar, and you have someone else who, again, do you want to recreate a group A, B, C, and D for that?
So right now, the
individual?
rules are if the council president balances or the council
Right.
president assigns committees. If we take the chart out, it gives the council president more freedom to assign the committees.
You always let your
And
colleagues go ahead
so
and
if you
make
love-
requests and you
If you
assign
love
them.
the ARB the way I love the ARB, and I might want to stay for a second year, currently, I can't because I have to rotate. And once I rotate out of the
Say
ARB,
no more. I'm good.
then the next year I don't get a 22-week one. And the
Okay.
planning, ARB, BZA,
Okay.
So-
Say no more, I got it. Okay.
Okay.
The only other potential suggestion I might make, fitness advisory has not met in
It's-
5 years.
it's in a contract that we have to have a
Is it?
fitness and
Okay.
advisory. There's an agreement with the schools. That's where it came.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ted. Or
I don't know if we have an existing contract in place. Fitness advisory was part of the original agreement with the city and school district when we
Got it.
built the fitness
Fitness
center.
center.
Because there was representative parties from the school district and from the city, and there was a collective decision made and a lot of other different things. I think that has just kind of gone away. I know we drafted and went back and forth on an updated agreement. I don't know that it was ever executed. We can double check on that. But the fitness advisory, because we control the fitness center, we man the fitness center, we take care of all the operating expenses of the fitness center, would strictly just be, it wouldn't serve the same purpose as it did originally. Originally, it was bringing parties that were all part of that facility together, but now it's just.
So at
just
the
us
time,
running.
there was going to be financial cooperation.
Right.
And that didn't work out. So we really don't need to vote on everything.
Okay.
But, so can we get rid of the fitness advisory? Yeah.
Again, I'm asking, I don't know if we are obligated to have it. If
Yeah,
we're not, then I would suggest that we don't need it, just because it hasn't met.
I don't think there's a need for it. I think if we were looking for input from residents of the fitness center, we'd probably do a survey of the poll at the fitness center of our members.
Or the-
saying, what do you-
Or the Park and Recs Commission, so I'd make a motion that I agree with, that we eliminate the Fitness Advisory Board off the list. Who's assigned now? I mean, I don't think they've had a meeting in
They haven't.
a while,
It's been
like
years.
5 or 6.
Somebody's on it. I put somebody on it.
Karen's on it.
Shannon told me they hadn't had a meeting in years.
Since I've been the clerk.
I was gonna say, it's been, I mean, I remember that we used to, but we don't, it just, there's nothing to negotiate.
I went to one, I just can't remember if it was.
This is taking too long. We got to get to legislation. We need to move on.
2009 and 2015, I remember going to one at one point, but that was one.
Okay, all right.
Those
all
are the changes I'd like to make. Thank you.
Got it? Okay, thanks. All right, audience participation. Shannon, you got anything?
Yes, we have Sue Clark.
Good evening, council, mayor, law director. Sue Clark, 9845 Crestwood Drive.
We need to move on.
I'd like to know if any of the council members, other than Bill, because he was there, had a chance to watch the ARB meeting from 2/18/2022. I did because it's one of the boards that I'm interested in
All right,
serving
audience
on.
participation.
The board had great concern over ordinance 84, 2021, mostly the 25% square footage. This means that the building commissioner could approve a two-car garage in addition to a home. The example that was given is if a resident in Corbett's Farm wanted to put an addition on a 4,000 square foot home, the addition would be 1,000 square feet. They also had valid points about the 25% land elevation. Mrs. Frazier felt that it was disrespected that council would make these changes to a board without discussing it with them. I, as a concerned resident, am asking the following. All of you to review the meeting and ask the ARB for their concerns in writing, and I'll tell you why later in this. How did this pass through council with no input from the members of the ARB? These are advisory boards, and I would think that you guys would want their input. I do believe that there needs to be a form that boards can submit to council after they've had a chance to discuss among their concerns. One of the ARB members asked if there was such a form for council to look at and review. He was told no. Please do not dismiss these talented people who you have chosen for these boards. I also want to thank them for their hard work in bringing their concerns to the resident. The last half hour of that meeting, they brought up some very valid concerns for the residents, for themselves not having ID and going to properties, some other things that were brought up about site plans. I really think it's worth us taking a look. We have 3 architects, and they did a tremendous job explaining their concerns in that meeting. But I'd really like council to really take a look at that, because I do think that they brought up some good points about giving one person a lot of leadway in our city when, you know, we don't know who we're going to have after Keith. Like she said, we love him, but we don't know who we're going to get. It's a lot to put on one person in a city this big. I really think that that does need some relooking at. So I'd like you guys to consider that and watch the meeting, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
That's all we have this evening.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to pending legislation. We have ordinance 11, 2022. Again, this is the ordinance, is a amendment to Chapter 1173 of the Codified Ordinance regarding the signs. It's being read for a second time tonight. As we talked last time, the changes are to incorporate the summary table to this section, along with some other clerical cleanup items that we discussed at the last meeting. Anybody have any comments tonight about this? Okay. Ordinance 13, 2022. This ordinance is to adopt and approve the stormwater management program for Twinsburg. This ordinance will also be on its second reading tonight. Amy gave a presentation at the last council meeting. Council will read this 3 times, and the emergency then will be placed on the legislation on the third reading. Everybody remember that? And we're good with that still, right? Okay. Ordinance 15, 2022. This ordinance is for the permanent appropriation ordinance for 2022. Total amount is $43,998,519, and it's going to be on its first reading tonight, which we will read it 3 times with the emergency clause on the third reading. The reason for the emergency clause, again, is to get the budget to the county by March 31st deadline. Anybody have any questions? And that was just discussed in the finance meeting as well.
It says 1521. I don't know if that matters in the title.
2022. This ordinance is for the permanent appropriation ordinance.
In the box title, I don't know if that is what you.
Total amount is 40. Oh, yeah, it's on here, it's 2022.
Well, it says in the ordinance 1522. I just didn't know if
And
you
it's going to
wanted
be on
to
its
change
first
it.
reading tonight, which we will read it
Title of
3
the-
times with the emergency
quick
clause on
reference.
the third Let's reading. get that, Shannon.
Okay.
The reason for the emergency
I got
clause
it.
again is to get the
Thank
budget
you.
to the Thank you, council by David. March 3rd. Next, we have Resolution 16-2022. This is to amend the term of the CRA agreement with PFG and 8745 Chamberlain Road LLC to provide that the tax exemption shall begin with tax year 2021, not due and payable until 2022, but no exemption shall extend beyond tax year 2025, not due and payable until year 2026. And anybody have any questions on that? Did everybody understand that, or do we need some explanation? Next, we have Resolution 16-2022. This is to amend the term of Ordinance 17-2022. This is an ordinance to award the bid for the White Oak and Birchwood reconstruction project to Fabrizi Trucking and Paving, who was the lowest and best bidder. The total amount of the project is $683,000. This ordinance will be on its third and final reading tonight to allow for the contracts to be executed and construction to start in a timely manner. So we will be suspending the rules on this tonight. Any questions? Okay. Finally, we have Resolution 18-2022. This resolution is authorizing the city to both apply for and accept the Energized Community Program grant administered through NOPEC. Are there any comments on the resolution? Do we know what the amount is that we will be receiving from this, Mayor? This will be on its third and final reading tonight to allow for the 2,500? Yes, executed and 28,000. Start in a timely manner. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Any questions? Okay, under miscellaneous, we will be, I will be making a motion for a liquor permit on the at Cracker Barrel. They're looking to go to the new D5I permitting, just like we're doing for the building behind it, for burgers to beer. So that, we'll be making that motion tonight. Anybody else have any miscellaneous? Nobody? Nobody? Okay, hearing none, then we will adjourn the caucus meeting, and we will start the council meeting at 7:30. If anybody has any, would like to speak at the council meeting, please come up and sign in at the podium.